Namaste, beloved. How are you? My name is Syma, and I am a sacred feminine and spiritual coach and healer and author. And I'm so grateful that you are here. I would love to share with you today some heart guidance on one of my favorite topics and one of my favorite experiences of being a woman. And this, my love, is the power of sisterhood, of sacred sisterhood. So, in my line of work, I have the blessing as a heart-centered, feminine coach and healer to work alongside beautiful, incredible colleagues, also women who are service-oriented and want to share their gifts to support and empower others and to really just bring blessings into the world. So in this line of work, what happens is a lot of times we women will gather and reach out and support each other in doing collaborations. From a business perspective, these may be called joint ventures or affiliates, but we see it as sacred sisterhood. And I recently just had this experience where a sister colleague had reached out. She was offering something that is very, in a way, similar to my own offerings. And she had asked if I would support her in releasing this to her tribe by promoting it basically with my tribe. And it was such an honor to support her in that we did a beautiful heart call webinar, and I invited all my sisters, as in my tribe members, the lovely soulful women that are part of this Flourishing Goddess community. Flourishing Goddess is the name of my website and my sacred temple that I offer and hold for fellow sisters. And in our webinar, there was this one point towards the end after I had really encouraged my sisters to explore Elaine's offering. We're Elaine Kalila Dowdy, by the way. You should definitely explore her if you're on the goddess path, my loves. Elaine had said, Syma, we should not be talking because we're, for all intents and purposes, competitors. We're direct competitors. And this is where the power of sisterhood comes in, is that sisterhood, as you can see from behind me with the goddess Lakshmi blessing my office, is that Lakshmi is that part of us as women that blesses us in knowing that there is infinite abundance. And so when we come from this place of abundance, just as you might be able to see there's coins flowing from her, we know that we have this infinite source of love, and abundance that's flowing from us. And the more that we share this with our fellow sisters and brothers and children and animals, the more we flourish together as a community, right? So the heart gifts of sisterhood are connection, collaboration, community, and celebration. Celebrating sisters. There was a beautiful moment after the Oscars I just saw in 2017 where Brie Larson sees Emma Stone, who won for Best Actress for La La Land, and they just shared this beautiful hug, and Brie Larson was crying. And we've seen this in other celebrities as well. When a sister wins, they cheer her and they're so happy for her. And it's so needed for us to have these beautiful role models reminding us that we need to support each other in shining and our own achievements. So sisterhood, my loves, is coming from a place of wanting the best for the other, of acknowledging when a sister is shining and celebrating her, and supporting a sister when she's down, when she's suffering, when she's in pain, offering her our love, holding the space for her. And when we do this, we heal and we also flourish. And it is just so beautiful to be a woman and to see this sisterhood rising again. We're collectively rising. We've had the Women's March this year to kick off the year. And just, what's so beautiful, no matter what our political orientation is, just to see women rising together and supporting each other in sisterhood. And this is so important because we've been separated for centuries, for thousands of years. In the past, when we had more nature-based communities, we had sisterhood. We would gather in red tents and moon lodges at the full moon or at the new moon, at equinoxes and solstices. And women would gather when we were on our periods. We would retreat from all our responsibilities and our work. And this would be a time for us to gather and to connect, to catch up, to share knowledge, share our feelings, to process our feelings, to support each other. And this was very powerful because when women gathered, we would come out as with insight for the community. We may have received insights as oracles or seers and healers and midwives. And so we played really prominent roles in the communities. And unfortunately, with the onset of warlike tribal cultures, and then when you add monotheistic religions to that, patriarchal religions, feminine power was not seen as, well, in fact, it was seen as a threat, right? And it didn't serve their purposes. So unfortunately, it's been oppressed. And what happened was, while men maintained their brotherhoods, which is great for them and sacred for them, and helped them in having their sense of community and brotherhood, unfortunately, women were cast out and we were separated, and we weren't given the opportunities to gather in sisterhood, right? And instead of that, with a lot of the religious teachings that we began to have to believe or internalize, they created judgment and condemnation and suspicion of other women, right? And so these kind of wounds collectively have really hurt us, not just individually, but also as women, as sisters, for so long. And it's time for us to heal this, my love. So in order for us to heal this, I want to just say that, yes, some of the shadows of women and how we connect with women sometimes can be judgment, condemnation, jealousy. And then the way that we enact this is by casting out or outcasting a woman. It's feminine aggression is often known more as relational aggression, because we might not go and punch someone in the face the way maybe men might if they're feeling aggressive. But when we are feeling aggressive, we will do that more likely with relationships, right? Gossiping and casting out and not including. And for us women, that's extremely painful, because we so value and cherish connection and relationships. And sometimes even our own basic core sense of self-worth is based on our relationships with others, which I think we need to heal. And I've made videos on that, on boundary setting and on how not to care what others think and not overgiving. But, at the same time, we can really hurt each other. And I've experienced it in my life, in school, being bullied by other girls, in the workplace. I once had a really painful experience of women, in a very feminine, it was, a popular feminine-led home-based makeup brand where their motto was God first, family second, career third. And I was working there in their event planning for the summer, and I found that the women were being really, really hostile towards me, and I had no idea why. I was, coming from a place of kindness. And I learned that there was this rumor that had spread about me that I had slept with an older man, the foreman who I used to work closely with for my event planning. And at that point, I hadn't even held a boy's hand or kissed anyone. I hadn't dated. And that's because of my childhood sexual traumas. I had a lot of fear of intimacy. So it was so painful to have this rumor that I was sleeping with someone and have these women be so hostile towards me and very, very blatantly cast me out. That's just one example, and there have been more. And it's very painful when we go through this, whether it's with our friends or our colleagues or women in the community, in the neighborhood. And I don't know why those women felt called to do that. I don't know why we do that, but normally it comes from, sometimes we're threatened. Sometimes we get jealous. Sometimes we are not happy in ourselves. So when we see another woman who might be confident or happy, or maybe she has something that we want that for some reason we don't think we can have, our way of dealing with that is not by healing that inner wound or shadow inside of us and knowing that we are as worthy and receptive of all the good that we want, but we just cast her out or judge her, right? And we've all done it, and we've all been on the receiving end of it, and we know that it's very painful. So in order to heal this wound collectively, I invite you to reflect a little bit on where you maybe have been in shadow yourself, in terms of coming from a place of competition or jealousy or comparison or judgment or condemnation, and forgive yourself and heal that part of you, that shadow, that part of you that needs your own unconditional love and acceptance and support and faith that you are worthy and you are infinitely loved and infinitely capable of having whatever you want. You can co-create it. The whole universe is there to support you with that, right? And there's infinite abundance that comes from inside of you and the love that's there for you from all of creation. So take care of that first. And then also, my loves, it's really helpful to forgive other women. So I had to do forgiveness work around these women in my lifetime who've hurt me. And it was necessary in order to ensure I wasn't attracting that pattern again. Right now, I should share that when I've had those experiences, normally during those times, I was in an experience of feeling very victimized in my life, not related to that. So to take empowered responsibility, I need to share that when those things happened, when I was bullied in school because of my experiences, depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, I already felt very sorry for myself. I had a lot of self-loathing. I had a lot of guilt and shame. And I feel like in a way, those women reflected that back to me, right? So we want to make sure that we are empowering ourselves and healing ourselves so that we attract kind, supportive, wonderful, lovely sisters into our lives. And we're coming from a good place. We have our own best interest at heart, and we have our sisters and other people's best interest at heart. So healing our wounding around that can really support us in healing our past relationships and moving forward to attract and call forth lovely, wonderful, kind, and supportive sisters. And if you find that sometimes you're with women and there might be an energy or trend of gossiping or talking about others, I invite you to really now take the lead and just be the trailblazer and put an end to that lovingly and say, maybe she has something going on that we don't know about. Let's send her love. Let's pray for her. Let's see if we can support her, right? Let's see how she's doing. So that is very helpful. Let's go ahead and stop these patterns of gossiping when we get together and instead speak only kindly of our sisters. If we have an issue with a sister, let's have that heart-to-heart conversation with her directly to heal and move forward, right? And really start gathering as sisters and taking back our power. Now we're finally in a time, my loves, where we can gather, right? We're free to do this in most parts of the world. And it's just so essential. I spent some of my childhood years in Pakistan from the age of 7 to 11. That's where I had so much sexual abuse and a lot of traumas, but there were some good things that were there as well. And one of them was my parents, they come from a village. Their parents were in a village. And so we would go to the village, and the women over there would gather every night to go for a pee walk. So they didn't have toilets, and they would go for a pee walk in the forest. And that was actually really always an excuse, more like, because they could go anytime they wanted to the bathroom outdoors. But it was really a way of saying, oh, we all need to go together, right? It's more safe in the evenings. It was really a way for them to connect. And this is how powerful it is when we gather, is that we will make sure that no matter what kind of communities we're in, we can gather. Now we're in this social media age where we can be on Facebook groups and, gather online. I have started hosting online monthly moon circles with fellow sisters. We have a private Facebook group. If you'd like to explore that, come over to flourishinggoddess.com and, you're invited to explore that, my love, because we gather every single month in the tradition of our monthly gatherings of old, where we would support each other. I lead us through meditations and rituals, and we connect with a particular goddess archetype. But there are many women's gatherings. I started doing this many years ago physically. I would host circles from my home. So if you want to know how to connect with more sisters, especially if you're on this path of the goddess and your spirituality, I highly encourage you to look up meetups in your area where there may be women's circles, women's gatherings, yoga studios or meditation shops, sometimes crystal stores. All these kind of places are offering more and more women's gatherings and women's groups. They're beautiful gatherings online, including ones that I host every month now. And if there isn't something like that in your community, why not start one? That's what I had done. I was feeling like in my transition, I wanted more spiritual friends, because as I came on my spiritual path, I wasn't able to talk to my old friends about these kinds of things that were really interesting to me. So I just created, first informal gatherings in my home. And then I put up a meetup group, and it was called Flourishing Goddesses, I think. And we had lots of members and monthly gatherings. So you can create one, and you can also join others and explore them and just see which ones you connect with. Go there. We come together in these circles, and from all the ones that I've attended and hosted, there's always an element of sharing. And as you know, as women, we heal when we share. When we hear another woman going through something, it's just so healing for us to know that we're not alone on our journeys, that while we may have different desires and different challenges, different blessings, different circumstances, that in the end, we are all going through similar challenges, right? So, and sometimes in these gatherings, themes arise that, wow, we're all really struggling with our faith or self-love or boundary setting, and then we support each other. So it's just so powerful, and I so want this for you, and I want this for all of us, because we're so strong together. We're so powerful together. Because of how powerful we are when we're together, when we're united, we have actually been separated. And so it's time to reconnect and to reunite, to regather, and to rise in sacred sisterhood. So I hope this has supported you, and I hope that you'll just remember that all this, my love, it comes from a place of love and wanting to connect, wanting to support, wanting to uplift each other, because when one person's happiness brings more blessings to others, right? When a sister flourishes, we all flourish. There's no competition. There's no lack. When one shines and succeeds, it's not that now she's taken that share of good. There's infinite good, and Lakshmi is there inside of us. So let's let Lakshmi out, and let's support each other in flourishing and in our healing. As sisters, it's our time. So I hope this has supported you, and I would love for you to be part of our sisterhood. So come on over to flourishinggoddess.com. If you sign up to our newsletter, I always send lovely sisterly updates to you, newsletters and guidance and videos and articles and tools and meditations. And we have a beautiful community on our Facebook page. If you feel called to join my monthly circles that are more private, you're more than welcome to do that. It's so beautiful and so powerful. And I would just love to shower you with so much sisterly love and support when you become part of our sacred sisterhood at Flourishing Goddess. So I am so grateful that you are here, and I am sending you all my sisterly love. Namaste.